Welcome to your Twisted Tea best post show ever. Although we might be going for, as the kids call, a mid post show because everybody's hot and tired. Sophie Phelps, I'm Jason Weigandt. Your voice is somehow gone? Were you just screaming for Eli or something?
Oh, my voice is gone, and I'm not sure if it's allergies or a cold.
Okay.
Everyone here has allergies, but also a couple people are sick. So I don't know what it is.
It was wild. So it was so hot today that the 250 podium ended up being all mechanics on the podium. Shimoda did make it to the podium, and he saw there was only Deegan's mechanic and Kitchen's mechanic, so he's like, you can have it. And the mechanics did the champagne. The mechanics held the trophies. Wow. That's how gnarly it was today.
And Shimoda didn't make it into the press conference either. So
Deegan couldn't do the podium, but he recovered enough to do the press conference?
Correct.
And Shimoda was done by then?
Yeah. He was, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully everybody's okay. Yeah, the heat was unreal. I heard that a lot of fans went out in ambulances too. So.
Yeah, well, they're not preparing themselves hydration-wise, I can tell you.
Unfortunately, there's probably a little bit too much alcohol, a little bit too little H2O going down the pipe. But.
Yes. They don't have Johnny O'Mara to help them get through the day. But there was, of all that, a huge positive, which is this right here. And they didn't set this bike up for the shoot, but it almost looks like they would have.
It does.
I feel like this sums up the day so well, Sophie.
Yeah, it's here. It's not up on the podium. Yeah. What a shame, especially after that first moto, which was, beautifully executed. He did what he had to do. And we heard a little bit from AP in the press conference about, the mishap that happened there in that first moto.
He miscalculated the laps.
Yes. And so someone did ask what happened was it a pit-board mistake?
Yeah.
Or what made you think that you were 2 laps further ahead than what you were?
Yeah.
And he said, I have no idea. That was his honest answer. You can go watch it.
We probably will here in a second. Hey, last week he didn't run a scoop tire in the first moto and said, I have no idea why. I talked to Ian Harrison, his team manager at Red Bull KTM, and he's like, I think he was seeing stars. That's why he miscalculated.
Oh,
probably
that would make sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's that darn hot. So, good idea. Let's just go to the press conference and talk to the top 3, which includes, hey, Jet Lawrence won again.
Shocker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't so hot, I think it would have been, I definitely could have pushed through it and stuff like that. I think the heat kind of definitely plays with it a bit because you want to be pretty conservative, but you don't want to blow your load and then just be done, so I kind of just had a few laps, and if I could reel them in really easily, I think I could have kept that up, but the AP and Eli were holding a really, really good pace, so kind of just made the decision of going, you know what, I'll just stay here. I have a bit of decent, have a okay gap to Justin, but he's kept me honest through the whole thing, so I couldn't fully relax. So I was in that awkward, kind of speed. But yeah, once we kind of finished with third, I wish I would have seen AP and pushed a little harder earlier in this first one, but. You know what? I should have got a better start and got my and clicked my gear early enough. And then the second one we ended up going back to a paddle tire for the start just to make sure we get the start, and because we're good enough to manage it around the track. And that start's just so important, obviously. So we went with that and nailed our start. Obviously Hunter and I just kind of stayed committed around that outside in the second turn and ended up getting it from him. And then just from there out, they kind of prepped a lot of sections, so I just used that and just tried going as fast as I can to where I could get a decent gap, and then just try and manage from there on, just have a smarter race and not kind of add any more risk to it. So yeah,
I don't really know. I don't know. I thought I saw the 2-lap board. I guess I don't really know. It must have been, it was 99 degrees in that first moto, so it was just I don't know, maybe I saw something on the pit board. I don't really know what I saw, but I definitely thought it was going to be the finish way earlier than what it was, and I got the 2-lap board, and I was like, no, that shouldn't be there. No. But yeah, Eli got close to me in probably 5-6 laps to go, and I was like, all right, I got to sprint. So I sprinted, and that's when whatever I saw, And I was like, all right, I could sprint for another lap. And I did. And then I didn't see anything at the finish, and I was like, crap, this is going to be bad. Because my heart rate was about 180, and it was very, very hot. And, it was just not a good mixture. So I blew myself up for sure.
For sure. A podium's always good. We'll take those. But, yeah, the first moto got the whole shot, and, I got passed right away. That wasn't fun. Felt like I could have, it's always nice to have a clear track for a few laps at least when you get a whole shot. But, those guys were going really, really fast, I feel like, in the first moto right away, and just wasn't really prepared for it. So, second moto definitely came out a lot more aggressive and made my way to the front and, kept attacking. And, they took 5 minutes off the race, so that definitely eases the pressure of, getting really, really hot again. But overall, it was a tough day no matter what. And, definitely feel like I rode really well all day. And, should have came out a little bit more aggressive in Moto 1. But, we learned from that stuff. And it was nice to get a whole shot, though.
Okay, we have arrived at the Twisted Tea rig. This is Tommy Tenders. We're cheersing on camera here. Thank you, Twisted Tea, for backing our show, as always. Okay, there's a gentleman over there that we're not going to show on camera because we don't want any violence to the fans.
We don't want any
yes,
violence.
He is our friend Valentin Guillaume. Awesome to have the Swiss veteran over here racing pro motocross. He was the one that tangled with Eli Tomac out of the gate. Now, first of all, Sophie, you've done many gate drops in your life.
I have.
That stuff does just happen, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And in fact, I was talking with a friend yesterday about a start where we came together and she started falling, fell onto me and bounced back up and continued on. And
not on purpose.
Not on
Yes.
purpose, but
Yes.
she still claims that I saved her.
Oh, okay.
So crazy things happen on the starts and sometimes you can't do anything about it.
We know American fans are very upset. They're like, who's that 992 that ran in the Tomac? Well, first of all, Tomac got a bad start and a bad jump, so that's on him, A. B, here's a big difference we found out between racing MXGP and here. About 2 years ago, they stopped grooming in front of the gates. There's ruts in front of the gates on purpose in pro motocross. Because you might remember about 5 years ago, we had the first turn crash to end all first turn crashes at this track. So what they realized was, if they leave ruts in front of the gate, it'll probably lead to variance
Yes.
and not 40 bikes side by side in turn one. That's great. Except Guillaume has never experienced that before until last weekend. And he's like, the ruts in front of the gate. I haven't seen that practically my whole life. And then he and Tomac came together. He's not going to come on the show because he's afraid of the fans know what he looks like. Some Tomac fan will hunt him down. Or maybe Eli would. I mean, Eli would probably do that kind of thing.
I don't know. He's actually a pretty nice guy, though.
He is, but he's a hunter.
True. Back to the ruts,
yes,
though.
yes,
They are
yes.
pretty intense out
Yes,
of the starting line.
yes.
So I am not shocked that caught him by surprise.
Yeah.
Because, they're wild. So I totally get that. And also when you have that many bikes, I think 40 bikes that are of an insane power
Yes.
going down the start at who knows what speed,
Yes.
things happen.
And these ridiculous Dunlop scoop tires, which are
Yes.
now so good that you pretty much have to run it.
And we talked about, off camera, we talked about Jet, who did not run the scoop first moto, ran the scoop the second moto, and got the whole shot second moto. So Tomac's all big on the scoop, and he didn't get the start that second moto.
No.
So back to what you're saying, whose fault is it really? Not to toss blame, because my starts haven't been great either, but.
No, we've been giving you some heat for that. We've been giving you some heat for the starts.
The Racer X crew has
Yes.
been giving me a lot of heat.
Yeah, we like to do that. We bash on each other. It's equal opportunity. We don't care if you're girl or guy.
Yeah.
We're all bashing on each other all the time.
That's equality. We asked for it, we got it.
That's right. So that's 450 class. So Jet Lawrence wins because Tomac got a bad start, then ran into Guillaume and then fell. You were watching that moto.
Yes.
We all know what Chase Sexton did last year at this track.
Yes.
There was almost starting to be a sighting as Tomac started to go from, I think, last to about 8th, and 5th was right in front of him. I was starting to get the Sexton vision.
Yes.
And then he fell.
Well, we should add, on top of the fall, they had less time that second moto.
Yes.
So if there was not a fall, if there was the full moto, how far could he have gotten?
I don't know. If he had gotten a second, he still would have won the overall because Jet only got third because
Yes.
of Plessinger just miscounting the laps, but still
Yeah.
getting second. Tom is having a tough time with camera and Twisted Tea. So let's get to some 250 press conference quotes with Hayden Deegan, who did show up, Joe Shimoda, who did not.
Did not show up.
Okay, and Levi Kitchen was there.
Levi Kitchen was there.
I'm learning all the time.
Yeah, 100%. I enjoy outdoors a lot more. It's a lot more fun to me. So that second moto, they told me they're making it shorter. So I was like,
I guess I'll just go balls to the walls for 25 minutes because, I mean, I'll get a little tired, but not too tired. They cut the race short, so that's what I did, and I think I got up to like 10, 11 seconds so at one point, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was super important for me. Obviously, that was out of my control. I think a rock hit my chain and it derailed. But either way, I mean, last weekend I maybe would have got 9th overall, so it wasn't really where I wanted to be. And Mitch kind of, chewed my ass a little bit through the week to tell me to step it up. So, yeah, today was a lot better. I mean, this is where I need to be, and it just felt good to kind of fight a little bit more. I need to work on starts, but other than that, it was good.
Okay, that is the end of the 250 press conference. You're watching Hayden Deegan closely, I'm sure.
Yes.
Are we seeing, is it like freestyle? Because there are times in the moto where he starts doing crazy stuff, crazy whips. He overjumps things. I can't tell what's that was a mistake or was it on purpose. Do you see this?
I see it.
Yes.
I do see it.
Yes.
And some of it I'm sure is he does get tired. He is a human.
Yes.
And he says that he doesn't get tired. And some of that I believe, and some of that is just your body does get tired. So I'm sure there's little mistakes that happen because nobody's perfect. Now, I will also say he's a teenage boy.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's part of it too, is he probably sees on the pit board, 15, 20 second lead or something, and thinks, sweet, and then cranks it over the next jump. What do I know? But that's my guess, is it's some of both.
It does seem to happen. I'm there's some combination of hanging it out and showing it off, and it's somewhere in the Venn diagram of that. Look, I don't know what else to say. Great bounce back for Kitchen to get back on the podium, because last week was terrible.
Yes.
Shimoda's been awesome. But they're just playing in Deegan's world right now, pretty much.
They are, yeah. Huge improvement from Shimoda in these past couple of weeks, though.
Yes.
So he's got to be stoked on that.
Yeah.
And like you said, Kitchen, this is a great week for him. So he's got to be going home happy. But the question remains, what can they do to knock Hayden off that top spot?
He's 4-0. I'm not going to go any further than that, but he is 4-0. And also to help him out, guys that we expected to battle him for this title, Hymas had food poisoning on Sunday. All the teams rented out, I think, Fox Raceway on Tuesday. He couldn't even ride. He was too sick. It's better by Wednesday, rode a little bit. When I talked to Hymas this morning, I think he thought he was going to be okay. Those conditions on that track, he ended up not okay.
Yes, that is correct. And he went out for the first moto.
Yep.
He had a good first couple of laps.
Yes.
The anchor got dropped.
Yep.
And then he came back in, and word from the Honda team is that the food poisoning is not quite gone.
Okay.
Or at least, he's feeling sick still.
Depleted enough where the heat got to him. And then Vial didn't finish Moto 1. Kitchen had a DNF last week. So a lot of the Deegan title contender guys are also way back in points. So besides Shimoda, they're pretty much all out of it already. It's wild how this works.
And it puts into perspective how difficult of a sport this is, because everything has to be perfect going into it. So you think of Hymas, he might have good nutrition regularly, but one thing that's off, and it may not have even been his fault, but the food poisoning gets to him, and now that ruined his weekend.
Yep.
So, and then there will be bike problems. We saw bike problems last weekend.
Yep.
And so your team has to be on point, your diet, anyways, everybody knows this, but it makes me think about how difficult this sport is.
That's why we're not going to talk any more than just Deegan's 4-0, and we're not going to extrapolate out beyond that. That's our post-show. Thanks to Twisted Tea. Everybody's hot and tired. We'll deal with the elevation. You're going to be there one more time, right?
Yeah, I'll be at Thunder Valley.
Sophie will be racing at Thunder Valley. We'll get her on the show. Come join us next week. We're not done. We have Benoit Paturel, who races for the Twisted Tea Suzuki team. Now, I feel bad. We were going to interview you last week, and I saw you in a meeting with your team. Then you were talking to Marvin and Mathis, and I'm like, he's busy. So we got you in this time. How were the conditions today? Everybody's talking about how hot it was. How gnarly was it for you?
Yeah, it was quite tough, but I prepare myself to have harder condition. I think when we go Florida, East Coast will be more tough.
Yes.
So I think was still okay. For me, I was disappointed that the second moto was less because
you wanted to do the full 30 minutes.
Because at the end I was faster and I want to pass the 3-4 guys in front, so I could have the top 10, but it's like this.
Wow. What's amazing about these battles you've been in, it seems like it's a lot of European guys who you're around. Tell me some of the guys you've been around in these races.
Yeah, last moto I was, so Malcolm was in 9, then Savachi, then Cody Shock, and then Colt, my teammate, just in front of me. So, yeah, I think it was a good battle, and like you say, some European guy come here, like Valentin Guillot. So,
Yeah, I saw you with Guillaume.
So we fight the first moto together. I could pass him at the end, so this was good for me. But
Have you raced him, I'm going to assume? Well, he was 450 guy when you were 250 guy in Europe, or have you raced him a lot?
yeah, we raced in 250s, then he moved to MXGP, and then we raced together last few years in 450. So yeah, we are quite a similar level, so it's fun to fight.
That's cool. You're going to be here all year, but so far, has this been fun?
Yeah, for sure. I love America. I love the people, and the team are so great, so professional. The bike is so great, and I'm so happy to work with this type of people, and it feels so good.
It's good. He's got a smile on his face. All right, we got him in. Benoit
Thanks.
Paturel, thanks for Twisted Tea, and thanks for backing this guy so we can race this summer.